Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about the Drogar campaign, and I'm going to continue my recap. So at this point, Rilbax, the human fighter, who is now an ally to Sleepy Stonyhorn, um, the dwarf ranger, who is the main character, the main player character of the campaign. They are in Neverwinter. They have just turned over Chella's body to the priests of Pelor, and at this point they are taking the blue-skinned Air Genasi prisoner back to the Neverwinter prison. So they go there and they meet the prison warden, and the prison warden is an elderly dude with an elderly Caucasian with a white beard, and he's much more finely adorned than a prison warden should be. He's got 2 rings on each hand, very fine clothing, so that is a little bit odd. They turn the prisoner over. He's like, "Oh, thank you so much. This is fantastic." And then he gives 1,000 gold to directly to Sleepy Stonyhorn, who immediately splits off 500 gold to Rilbax the human fighter. So Rilbax now is actually paid for journeying with him, and paid well. So Chella did die, so I don't know how well he was paid, for the risk. But what is interesting is, and at that point he also says that that the Lord Neverember is going. They actually stay a couple days to just get everything settled, and Lord Neverember, just by decree, Sleepy Stonyhorn does not meet Lord Neverember, but he actually says that they are going to give 3 months supply of ore to Mount Hope now, which is fantastic. But is also doubling the ore that they get, whereas right now they actually need wood. But that is, but Sleepy Stonyhorn is out doing his pathfinding job, and he's doing well, right? And also he's building goodwill between Mount Hope now and Neverwinter City. Okay, so at this point, this is really fascinating, right? So at this point, I'm like, okay, you've wrapped that adventure, right? Do you want to stay then? And I was like, logically, you guys have been, here for a couple days. It's late in the day. Do you want to stay in Neverwinter overnight? And he's like, no, I want to get out right away and get into the forest again, and I want to head to the Emerald Conclave. Now, this is really interesting. So the hardcore player who runs Sleepy Stonyhorn, he is fantastic. He is really, really fantastic at doing something very special and very unique and very wonderful. And what is that? Well, what he does that I think is really phenomenal is he accepts adventure, and he just goes in different directions. And for instance, in this particular session, I never expected them to be in Neverwinter City. I knew it was a possibility, but I thought that they would take him with them to the Emerald Enclave and that he would escape on the way. That's really what I expected to happen, right? But the hardcore player is very unpredictable, and I love that. I love that I'm challenged, right? And I will say, I had, oh my gosh, sorry. I totally got ahead of myself. I apologize. I forgot an entire combat that I now need to tell you about. All right. So between when they went, I skipped an entire combat, so I'm going to say it very quickly. Between when they went to, so they drop off Chella, they get into the city, into Neverwinter. They drop off Chella's body. Then they go to the prison, right? There was an entire combat that happened there. So they got pinned up in this. It wasn't an alleyway. It was a thin street on the path to the prison. A full plate helmed black knight, right, rode out in front of them on a destrier. Then a black cloaked rogue came up from behind, and there were 2 archers on the roof, and they were ambushed. And these people said, "Hey, listen, go, give us the prisoner. You got Rilbax." They said, "You, the human fighter, you, the dwarf ranger, and your Owlbear, you guys don't need to be any part of this. We just need the prisoner. You guys go about your business," right? and hardcore player, he don't play, man. Like he, you know what I mean. He don't play. He immediately threw down, and they had a fight. Right. He did not know who these people were, and this was really, and so they actually entwined the rogue, and they were escorted by a Neverwinter guard. That Neverwinter guard got killed, and then they fully captured the entwined rogue, and then they cut the Rilbacks specifically, successfully struck the knight twice, and then the dwarf, and then Sleepy Stonyhorn struck the destrier Black Knight as well, and they actually got him to break, and he ran away. Then they stripped the rogue for parts. They stripped the rogue of three. They stripped the rogue of 3 treasure parts, right? And then they went on from there, and so essentially they defeated that attempt to have the prisoner stolen from them. But then at the end of the adventure, end of the prisoner exchange adventure, Sleepy Stonyhorn's player was like, I really want to get to this Emerald Enclave. I want to get to the Emerald Enclave. And I thought this was really interesting in that he's really good at engaging with the story. But one thing, and we don't talk about this enough as Dungeon Masters, like he cruised past the mystery around why Chella died. And also, he had no interest in who was this prisoner. What was the story around his escape? Who was trying to get him in Neverwinter? I had cool answers for all of that, right? But he's like, hey, we want to turn him over and we want to get back to the adventure. And so one of the things that we have to do as Dungeon Masters is say, okay, this level of engagement is awesome, and I'm going to take that. You don't have to solve every single mystery and every single adventure. You don't have to engage with every adventure that's presented, right? So I thought that was really interesting. All right, sorry I forgot that combat part, and that had to be out of order. We're going to cut it off there. There's still more Session 3. I'll get to that in a later video. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.